Imagine moving into a new home, a fresh start for you and your family. But at night, screams echo through the walls not from outside, but from inside the house itself. Shadows crawl across your bedroom floor, and your own children wake up screaming, begging to leave. This isn't a scene from a horror movie. This is the story of the Union Screaming House in Missouri, a case considered one of the most disturbing and violent hauntings of the 21st century. But the question remains, was it truly a malevolent spirit, or was it a terrifying case of fear and suggestion taking over a family's life? Our story begins in 2001. A man named Stephen LaChance rented a small, unassuming house in the quiet town of Union, Missouri. He was a single father looking for a home for himself and his 3 children. On the surface, it was perfect, but almost immediately after they moved in, a sense of unease began to settle over the family. It started with small, unsettling events. Doors would slam shut on their own, even with no draft in the house. Objects would slide off shelves or move across the room without any explanation. At night, the true terror began. The family started hearing blood-curdling screams, loud and clear, coming from within the house. These weren't the sounds of a distant argument or children playing outside. They were sharp, desperate cries that seemed to come from the very walls around them. Stephen tried to rationalize it at first. Old houses make strange noises, he told himself. But the activity didn't just continue, it escalated dramatically. He reported that furniture, including heavy pieces like couches and dressers, would be thrown across rooms with incredible force, as if by an unseen giant. His children began to experience personal attacks. They described being pushed, scratched, and held down by an invisible force. The most terrifying part for Stephen was the appearance of dark, humanoid shadows that would stalk them in their bedrooms, looming over their beds as they tried to sleep. The house, once a symbol of a new beginning, had become a prison of fear. The psychological toll was immense. The children were terrified, unable to sleep, and constantly on edge. The constant threat of physical and psychological attack became unbearable. Within just 1 month of moving in, the LaChance family couldn't take it anymore. They packed what they could and fled the house in absolute terror, leaving most of their belongings behind. Their dream home had turned into a living nightmare, and their only thought was to escape. But for Stephen LaChance, the story didn't end when he closed the door behind him for the last time. He claimed that the entity, whatever it was, had attached itself to him. It followed him, tormenting him even after he had moved far away from the house in Union. The unexplained phenomena continued in his new residences, a constant, chilling reminder of the horror he and his children had endured. Driven to understand what had happened, Stephen documented his experiences and eventually wrote a book about the ordeal. His account caught the attention of paranormal investigators and the media, who soon dubbed the location the Screaming House, of course. A story this extreme is bound to attract skepticism. And there's another side to this terrifying tale. Skeptics offer a more grounded, rational view of the events. For starters, neighbors who lived next to the house for years reported no strange activity whatsoever. They never heard screams, saw flickering lights, or witnessed any of the chaos that Stephen described. This lack of corroboration is a major point for those who doubt the haunting. Some suggest that the family's experiences could be explained by a combination of factors. The stress of being a single father moving to a new place could have heightened their sensitivity. Old, faulty wiring could explain flickering lights, and the natural settling of an old house could account for some of the strange noises. The power of suggestion and shared fear within a family can also be incredibly strong. Once one person becomes convinced something is wrong, that fear can spread like wildfire, turning every creak of the floorboards into a footstep and every shadow into a menacing figure. Critics also point out that Stephen LaChance later profited from the haunting through his book, media appearances, and speaking engagements. They suggest that this financial motive might have led him to embellish, or even fabricate parts of his story, making it grow larger and more dramatic than the reality. It's a classic question in paranormal cases. Is it a genuine experience? Or is it a story crafted for an audience? However, that's not where the story ends. The debate was reignited when paranormal investigators began to visit the house themselves. Many teams who entered the screaming house reported a heavy, oppressive feeling in the air, a sense of being watched or unwelcome. They documented sudden, inexplicable temperature drops, a classic sign often associated with paranormal activity. Their electronic equipment, including cameras, audio recorders, and EMF meters, would frequently malfunction or drain their batteries without any logical reason. And most compelling of all, some of these seasoned investigators, who had been to countless allegedly haunted locations, swore they also heard the screams faint, but undeniably there, captured on their audio devices. Their findings seemed to support Stevens' claims, adding a layer of credible, third-party evidence to the story. So we are left with two starkly different possibilities to competing realities. On one hand, we have the possibility that the Union Screaming House was the site of one of the most violent and aggressive hauntings in recent American history, a place where a family was genuinely terrorized by a malevolent entity. On the other hand, we have the possibility that it was a powerful story born from stress and trauma, amplified by fear, and perhaps shaped by the allure of storytelling and media attention. The house still stands in Union today, a quiet, ordinary-looking home on a suburban street. Its current owners have understandably remained private, and the house itself has fallen silent, at least to the outside world. But its legend remains a chilling reminder that even in our modern, scientific age, some houses are said to scream. So what do you think happened? Was it a genuine, terrifying haunting, or a chilling example of the power of fear? Let me know your theory in the comments. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more unexplained mysteries.